Do you want to decorate your house farmhouse style, just like those beautiful photos that you see on Pinterest and the edgy TV shows? Well, this is the only guide you're gonna need. Now, I know when you hear the word farmhouse style, your mind immediately goes to Joanna Gaines from the edgy TV show Fixer Upper. But the farmhouse aesthetic actually has its root in the actual farmhouses in the 16th and 17th centuries, where people lived in remote areas and used whatever materials they had on hand, like wood and stone. The modern farmhouse design has brought some of the things back as decor pieces, like using mason jars and apron sinks, etc. But if there's one central idea or theme behind farmhouse design, is that it is a central gathering place for the family. So no matter which direction you decide to go to, this will be your North Star throughout this video. Now, to actually build this style, we need to figure out a couple of things. So let's break them down one by one. First, let's figure out color. Now, traditional farmhouse style sticks to a pretty neutral color palette, like your whites, off-whites, gray, and greys. When achieving this look, your main color or your main backdrop needs to be a neutral color like white and off-white or beige or gray. You can mix in pops of colors, wood tones, and other earthy textures, but our base still would need to be a neutral palette. So to be able to build this color palette from scratch, I think we should take a look at a few examples, like this photo right here. So this is a classic example of farmhouse style, right? You've got the classic off-white on the walls. I think they've also used shiplap on the walls as well. You've got off-white walls, this slightly cream-ish color sofa with beige and gray accents, cushions, and curtains which offer a nice complement to the neutral color palette. And to sort of cut through all these neutral tones, they've put in pops of colors like this wooden table. They've also put this beautiful black on the shelves, the golden color from the lamps, and the greyish color from the area rug, which all sort of help give it a earthy and rustic tone to it. So we have a total of 6 and 7 different colors in this space. And what really makes it come together is that they've paid attention to the main colors and made sure their accents really complement that main color, like beige and gray to the off-white and the wood accents to the shelves. So one of the most common complaints people have with farmhouse design is that it's oftentimes too white. So I'm going to go through a couple of photos to show you that there are actually a lot of color options that you can play with and still stick to the farmhouse design theme. So unlike the last space, here we have a lot more going on in the background. The last space was mostly off-white, but here we have a lot more colors and textures to play with, like these rustic wooden ceilings, exposed bricks, the wooden floors. And the reason this style, this space, still qualifies as farmhouse style is that it has this open, clean, and inviting feel to it. It's a mix of rustic elements with modern furnishings that give it a personality. And all the colors used still give it an earthy feel and a neutral look, which is important. I think these type of spaces really show you how much room there is to play with within farmhouse style. You can take elements that you like from different home decor styles like mid-century modern or bohemian or even Scandinavian and really bring it all together. You can go with something traditional like this or something a little bit more modern like this. We'll go over the different types of farmhouse style evolution over the years towards the end of the video, so you really know where to go from here. So the second thing we need to move on is furniture. So traditionally, farmhouse style focuses more on comfort and functionality rather than just aesthetics. So you're not going to see designs that are really out there, as the case might be with other interior decor styles. This style really focuses more on the rustic or vintage side of things. Something like this, for example. But I can understand if that's not your style. Not everyone lives near or on a farm. So some of these pieces might seem out of place, and rightly so. As farmhouse style has evolved, it has taken elements from a lot of different type of interior decor styles like bohemian, mid-century modern, Scandinavian, and these mixtures really allows us to use a lot of different types of furnitures rather than just the old distressed pieces of furniture that you see all over Pinterest. So here are actually a few good examples. So let's start with the farmhouse kitchen. The main thing to keep in mind that all your spaces needs to be comforting and inviting, using neutral and earthy elements like this modern farmhouse style open plan kitchen. You can see they have a wooden island and a really sleek modern countertop. I'm guessing this is marble. They have a great use of black color that pops off, and of course the classic apron sink. Something to keep in mind is that some people really overdo it with stuff like sliding barn doors, even sliding barn cabinets. Same theme continues in this home with the dining area, pops of black, rustic furniture, off-white walls with shiplap on them. If the distressed wooden look is not your thing, you can also go for furniture made from reclaimed wood, which also does really well in these types of spaces. And actually, it's also a lot easier to find that kind of stuff because you'll always find these type of furniture pieces in your local charity shops or your thrift store, and it also might be cheaper than going to some place like Pottery Barn. So for those who don't know what shiplap is a long narrow board with cuts into the top and the bottom of its sides, and traditionally shiplap wood has been used as exterior sidings, but now it's also found in a lot of homes as wall treatment as well. And you can really use this in a lot of creative ways, regardless if you're going a more traditional or modern style. Here's an example. You can use shiplap on these types of barn doors if that's your thing. You kind of avoid the traditional look for these barn doors and add something unique. You can also use this without any paint if you want to give your space a little bit more that wooden texture. You can find these without paint in your local hardware shops. You can use shiplap in your foyer area like this if you're going towards a modern farmhouse look. You can paint them black like this. Overall, it's a really versatile tool that you see in just about every farmhouse style home because it really gives it that Pinterest sort of look. So now the third and the final part, home furnishings. Now this is where you can really get creative, but if we're making our color palette, we had to stick with a neutral theme because that is the base designs of almost all farmhouse style homes. But with furnishings, you can really add those pops of colors and textures that makes your space uniquely yours. So if you're going for something a little bit more traditional, you might want to stick to your classic linens and velvet for that traditional look. Or you can also add a bunch of different textures and colors. You can use block print, chunky knits, cushions made from weave fabrics. So your choice of furnishings will really depend on what color palette you decided on. One of the most common furnishing elements that we see in farmhouse style spaces are area rugs, especially jute area rugs. You can use other rugs that have a vintage feel to it. I'll put up a few photos as examples. You can add things like rattan baskets or rattan chairs, baskets made from leather to really add that earthy tones and builds that contrast in the space. Using things like mason jars for storage is also a good addition. But a lot of times you might not be able to find exactly what you're looking for, and that's where we actually might be able to help you. Fabria is a home furnishing manufacturer. We make everything from curtains to table linens and everything in between. We ship all around the world. Fabria is run by me and my mom. We have a Etsy shop that I will link down below in the description. So if you do have something that you can't find really custom made, we can make that for you. So check us out. Now, one last thing that we need to talk about before I end this video is the evolution of farmhouse style. I think the very traditional form of farmhouse is kind of run its course. We don't really see that as much. I think the style has evolved into a bunch of different styles, like for example, modern farmhouse or cottagecore or Scandinavian farmhouse. So let's just take a quick look at some of the key differences here. With the traditional farmhouse, one of the biggest complaints was that it was too white and it was too bland. With modern farmhouse, you definitely see a lot more colors used, like navy or the shiplap with black paint that we saw earlier. Those are all great examples of modern farmhouse design that really experiments with a lot of different colors and with a lot more metal accents, which is a key difference. The modern farmhouse focuses a little bit more on the glossy finishes rather than the distressed look or the rustic look. So when you're trying to build your own version of farmhouse, it's okay to mix and match things, take stuff from other design styles that you like, as long as you make sure the space that you are building is prioritizing comfort and function rather than just aesthetics. I think you're going the right way. So if you like this video, if you found this helpful, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll be uploading more videos like this every week, and I'll see you in the next one.